Good day, everyone. This is William Reyes from BS at English 1A. Education Act under 1982. Under by Chapter 1, Preliminary Matters. Under Section 1, Education Act of 1982. This act shall be known as the Education Act of 1982. Section 2 under by the 1982 coverage. This act shall be applied to a govern both formal and non-formal system in public and private school in all levels of the entire educational system. Chapter 2 Declaration of Basic State and Objectives. Establish a maintain and complete, adequate, and integrated educational system. The goals of this section 2 is to accelerate economic development and social progress, maximize participation of national development, strengthen and unity, and promote cultural, moral, and spiritual values. Section 3 Declaration of the Basic Policy. It is the policy of the state to establish and maintain a complete, adequate, and integrated system of educational relevant to the goals of national development. Here are the following goals: to achieve and maintain an accelerating rate of an economic development and social progress, to ensure the maximum participation of all the people in the attainment and enjoyment of the benefits such as growth, and to achieve and strengthen the national unity and consciousness, and to preserve, the develop, and promote the desirable culture, moral, and spiritual values in changing the world. Under by the Section 4 Declaration of Objectives, the educational systems aims to broad a general education for individual and societal development, train the manpower for national development, develop the leadership to advance the knowledge and improve life quality, to address the national needs through the education, planning, and evaluation. Provide for a broad general education that will assist each individual in the particularly in ecology of his own society to attain his potentials as a human being, enhance the range and quality of every individual in a group of participation in a basic function of society. Acquire the essential education as the foundation of this development into a productive and versatile citizen. Train the nation's manpower in the middle level skills for a national development, develop to the profession that will provide leadership for the nation in the advancement of knowledge for improving the quality of a human life. Responds the effective to changing needs and conditions of the nation through the system of education, in a planning and evaluation. Furthermore, the educational system shall reach out to educationally derive the communities in order to give a meaningful reality to their membership into a national society. Educational community. Under by the Chapter 1 Preliminary Provision. Under by Section 5 the Policy and Objectives. It fosters the cooperation among parents, students, and school personnel. Promote the welfare and the interests of the students and the educational institutions. Under the Section 5, Declaration of the Policy and Objectives, it is clockwise declare the government policy for a poster at all times, a spirit of shared purpose and cooperation among the members and elements of educational community. Aid to support a national right and duty of parents to re-airing for the youth through the educational system. Promote the safeguard and welfare and the interests of the students by defining the rights and obligations according to their privilege, and encouraging the establishment of the sound relationship between them and the other members of the school community. Promote the social economic status of all their living and working conditions and career prospects. Extend support to promote the viability of those institutions through which parents, students, and school personnel seem to attain their educational goals. Section 6, Definition and Coverage. It includes the parents, students, teaching staffs, school administrations, and non-teaching personnel and school. Definition and coverage. It talks about the educational community refers to those persons or groups of persons such as the associated in institution. It involves the organized teaching and the learning system. Parents or the guardians or head of the institution or foster the home which has the custody of the pupils or students, the students or those enrolled in who regularly attend an educational institution for secondary or higher level of persons engage in formal study, the school personnel or all persons working for an educational institution, which it includes the following: teaching or the academic staff or the persons engaged in actual teaching or the research assignments either on a full-time, part-time, or basis in all levels of the educational systems. Second, the school administrators or all persons occupying the policy, implementing the position having to do with the functions that school in all levels. Third, we have the academic, non-teaching personnel or those persons holding some academic qualifications and performing academic functions. Directly, it supports or teaching such as registrars, librarians, research assistants, research aides, and similar staff. And lastly, we have the non-academic personnel or all other schools personnel that define a definition that coverage of teaching and academic staff, school administrators, and academic non-teaching personnel. Schools. We are now down to the section 7, which is the community participations. Establish forums for discussing issues and promoting shared goals. Section 7, the community participations. Every educational institution shall provide for the establishment of appropriate bodies through which the members of the educational community may discuss the relevant issues and communicate information and suggestions for assistance and support at the school and for the promotion for their common interests. Chapter 2, Rights. Section 8, Parents' Rights. Rights to organize and access to records for their children. Under Section 8, the rights of parents, it talks about the rights of understanding existing the laws in all parents who have children enrolled in schools have the following rights. These are the following rights of the parents: the right to organize by themselves and or with the teachers for the purpose for providing a forum for discussions of matters relating to the total school, ensuring the full cooperation for the parents and teachers in the formation and efficient implementation of such program. The right access any official records directly relating to the children who are under their responsibility. Section 9. Students' Right. It includes the quality education, access to records, freedom of expression and organization, timely and insurance for documents, freedom for involuntary and contributions. Section 9. The rights of students in school. In addition to other rights and the subject to limitations prescribed by the law and regulations, and students in and pupils in all schools shall enjoy the following rights: the right to receive a primarily through competent instructions, relevant quality educations aligned with national goals and conducive to their full development as person with human dignity. The right to freely choose their field of study subject to existing curricular and to continue their course therein up to their graduation, except the cases of academic deficiency or the violations of disciplinary regulations. The right to school guidance and counseling services for decisions and selecting the alternatives in fields of work that suit to their potentialities. The right to access to his own school records, the confidentiality of which the school shall maintain and preserve. The right to ensure of official certificates, diplomas, transcript of records, grades, transfer credentials, and other similar documents within the 30 days from request. The right to publish a student's newspaper and similar to publications, as well as the right to invite the resources persons during the assemblies. It is the symposia and other activity for a similar nature. The right to free expressions of opinions and suggestions to effective channels of communications with the appropriate academic channels and administrative bodies of school or institutions. The right to form, establish, join, and participate in the organizations and societies that recognized by the school to foster the intellectual, cultural, spiritual, and physical growth and development, or to form a establish, join, and maintain organizations and societies for a purpose not to contrary to law. The right to be free from involuntary contributions except those approved by their own organizations or societies. Section 10. The rights of school personnel. In addition to other rights provided by the law, the following rights shall be enjoyed by all school personnel: the right to free express of opinion and suggestions, and to effective channels of communications with the appropriate academic and administrative bodies of the school or institutions. The right to be provided with free legal service by the appropriate government office in the case of the public school personnel and through the school authorities concerned with the case of a private school personnel. When charged in administrative, the civil, or the criminal proceeding by the parties or other than school or regulatory authorities that concern per actions committed directly in the lawful discharge of the professional duties and or in defense of school policies. The right to establish, join, and maintain labor organizations and or professional and self-regulating organizations of their choice to promote their welfare and to defend their interests. The right to free from involuntary contribution except to those imposed by their own organizations. Section 11. Teaching staff. The rights includes the freedom and related assignments, recognitions of intellectual property, career advancement opportunities. Section 11. Special rights and or privileges of teaching or academic staffs. The further rights mentioned in the preceding sections, every member of the teaching or academic staffs shall enjoy the following rights and or the privilege: the right to be free from compulsory assignments not related to their duties and defined in their appointments or employment contracts unless to confiscate, therefore it conformably to existing law. The right to intellectual property consistent with the applicable laws. Teachers shall be deemed persons in authority when in the discharge of lawful duties and responsibilities and shall, therefore, it accorded due to respect and protections. Teachers shall be accorded the opportunity to choose the alternative career lines, either in the school administrations, in the classroom teaching, or others for a purpose of career advancement. Section 12. School administrations. The rights to administrate discretions and respect as a persons in authority. Section 12. Special rights of school administrations. School administrators shall, in accordance with the existing laws, regulations, policy, and the Ministry of Education, Culture and Sports, be accorded to sufficient administrative to discretions from necessary for the efficient and effective performance of their functions. Schools administrator shall be deemed persons in authority while in discharge of law, duties, and responsibilities, and shall therefore be accorded due to respect and protection. Section 13. The school rights. School to govern the internal policies, admissions, and academic matters. School Section 13, the rights of school, in addition to other rights, it's provided by the law. School shall enjoy the following: the right of their governing boards of lawful authorities to provide for their properties, governance of the school, and to adopt and enforce the administrative or management system. The right for institution of higher learning to determine an academic grounds which shall be admitted to study, which may teach, well, shall be subjects of the students. Chapter 3, Duties and Obligation. Under by section for the parents ensure the children's education, support and school programs in and cooperate with schools. Under the section for duties of parents, in addition to those provided for under existing laws, parents shall be the following duties and obligations. Parents, individually or collectively through the school system, shall help carry the educational objectives in accordance with the national goals. Parents shall be obliged to enable their children to obtain elementary education and shall strive to enable them to obtain secondary and higher education in the pursuance of the right formations of the youth. Parents shall cooperate with the school in the implementation of the school program, curricular and co-curricular. Section 15. Students develop potentials, upload in academic integrity, maintain discipline, and exercise the right to responsibly. Section 15. Duties and responsibilities of students. Under existing laws, every student shall, in addition to those provided for, exert an utmost and develop his potentialities for service, particularly by undergoing an educational suit to his abilities, in order that he may become an asset to his family and to society. Upload academic integrity at the school, endeavor to achieve academic excellence enabled by the rules and regulations the governing his academic responsibilities and moral integrity. Promote and maintain the peace and in tranquility for school by observing the rules and discipline and by the exerting efforts to attain harmoniously relationship with fellow students, the teaching and the academic staff, and other school personnel. Participate active in a civic affairs and the promotions of general welfare, particularly in the society, economic, and cultural development, or his community, and the attainment of just, compassionate, and the orderly society. Exercise the rights responsibly in the knowledge that he is awareable for improvement of violation of the public welfare and other rights of others. Section 16 Teachers' duties include the effective instructions, professional growth, constructive feedback, avoid the banditis unrelated to academics. Section 16 Teachers' obligations. Every teacher shall perform his duties to the school by discharging his responsibilities in or accordance with the philosophy, goals, and objectives of school. Be accountable for the efficient and effective attainment of the specific learning objectives in a pursuance for a national development goals with the limits of available school resources. Render a regular reports performance of each students and to the latter of the latter's parents and guardians with specific suggestions for improvements. Assume the responsibility to maintain and sustain his professional growth and advancement and maintain professionalism in his behavior at all times. Refrain from making deductions in students' scholastic rating for a cause for a clearly not manifestations for a poor scholarship. Participate as an agent for constructive social, economic, moral, intellectual, cultural, and political change in his school and the community within the context of national policies. Section 7 School Administrators ensure effective management, professional behavior, and support for staff performance. Section 17 School Administrators obligations. Every school administration shall perform his duties to the school by discharging his responsibilities in accordance with the philosophy, goals, and objectives of schools. Be accountable for efficient and effective administrations and management of the develop of the maintained and healthy school atmosphere conducive to a promotion and preservation for academic freedom, effective teaching, learning, and the harmonious and progressive school-personal relationship. Assume the maintained professional behavior in his work and dealing with students, teachers, academic, non-teaching personnel, administrative staff, and parents, guardians, render inadequate reports to teachers, academic, non-teaching personnel, and non-academic staff on their actual performance in relation to their expected performance and counsel they on ways of improving the same observed due to process, fairness, promptness, privacy, constructiveness, and consistency, and disciplining the teachers and the personnel. Maintain an adequate record and submit required reports to the Ministry of Education, Culture, and Sport. Section 18, the non-teaching personnel. Improving professional skills and foster conductive learning environment. Section 18, the obligation of academic non-teaching personnel. Personnel shall academic non-teaching must improve himself professionally, be keeping abreast of the latest trends and techniques in his professions. Assume to promote and maintain an atmosphere conducive to serve and learning. Promote and maintain an atmosphere that conducts safe to serve and learning for everyone for within the school. And my conclusion, the Education Act of 1982 establishes a comprehensive framework for a quality education system in the Philippines. It emphasizes the strict responsibilities of parents, students, educators, administrators, and the government in the fostering the academic excellence, personal growth, and and national development by ensuring the rights and the duties of all stakeholders. The Act aims to create the inclusive, relevant, progressive, educational environment for all. Once again, this is William Reyes from BS at English 1A.
Thank you for that. So, a pleasant day, students. My name is Teacher Hazel, and for today's topic, I will be discussing about the educational systems, which is under the law titled the Education Act of 1982. So, it is a bunch of chapters and sections pertaining to the educational systems. Starting off with Chapter 1, which is the formal education. So, without further ado, let's get the learning going. Starting off with Section 19, which is the Declaration of Policy, it recognizes formal education as the primary system for achieving national and educational goals. For Section 20, we have its definition. It defines formal education as organized, structured, and certified schooling across 3 levels, namely elementary education, which is basic education for 6 or 7 grades, including preschool; secondary education, which is high school education focusing on advanced basic knowledge and employable skills; and lastly, we have tertiary education, which is higher education after high school, leading to a degree. Sections 21 to 23 outline the objectives for each aforementioned level. For elementary, we have develop personal growth, social responsibility, national pride, and work skills. For secondary, we have to continue elementary objectives while preparing students for college or careers. And lastly, tertiary, which is to promote cultural identity, professional skills, and knowledge through research. Moving on to Chapter 2, we have the non-formal education and specialized services. For Section 24, we have the specialized educational service. It provides specialized educational services to address unique needs. Number 1, we have work education, which is practical and vocational training for specific occupations. Number 2, we have the special education, which are tailored programs for learners with diverse physical, mental, or social needs. And number 3, we have non-formal education, which is organized education outside the formal system, focusing on literacy, vocational skills, and personal development for out-of-school individuals. Moving on to Chapter 3, we have the establishment of schools. For Section 25, we have the establishment of schools. Schools must follow legal processes to be established, with private schools required to incorporate as non-stock corporations unless exempt. For Sections 26 to 28, define schools which are public or private and the recognition process. Recognized schools can grant diplomas and titles, while unrecognized operations are penalized. Section 29, we have the voluntary accreditation, which encourages voluntary accreditation to maintain high standards. Moving on to Chapter 4, we have the internal organization of schools. For Section 30, we have the organization of schools. Schools must organize internally to fulfill academic and administrative functions effectively and resolve disputes. Section 31, we have the Governing Board. Governing boards oversee universities, colleges, and private schools. And lastly, we have the Section 32, which are personnel transactions. Employment terms are guided by civil service or labor laws, with specific standards for teaching personnel. Finally, moving on to the final chapter, which is Chapter 5, we have the School Finance and Assistance. For Section 33, we have the Declaration of Policy. The government supports education financially, broadening access through incentives and promoting private sector contributions. For sections 34 to 37, we have the public schools. National and local governments fund public schools, with specific allocations for secondary schools and special education funds for related expenses. For sections 38 to 39, we have the schools may charge fees and use income from various activities to improve operations. And lastly, for sections 40 to 44, which are under private schools fund operations through tuition, grants, or other income sources, with potential government aid if aligned with national goals. Income from donations or auxiliary enterprises supports educational programs. So that sums up my topic for educational systems under the Education Act of 1982. I hope you have learned something, and thank you for listening.
So good afternoon everyone, my name is Fatima Shedra Birin Muhajiran. Hazel Romero has already discussed the educational systems, and now I will be discussing the Ministry of Education, Culture and Sports. Please just read the definition on the visual aid because I'll explain it right away. For the Ministry of Education, Culture and Sports, Chapter 1, General Provisions, Section 54, Declaration of Policy. This section states that the Ministry of Education, Culture and Sport is responsible for administering the education system, supervising and regulating educational institutions in accordance with the Constitution. This is done without affecting the charters of states, college and universities. Section 55, Organization. The ministry is led by the Minister of Education, Culture and Sport, supported by one or more deputy ministers. Section 56, Abolition of National Board of Education. The National Board equipment are transferred to the Office of Minister. Section 57, Functions and Powers of the Ministry. The Ministry is tasked with formulating educational objectives and policies and creating long-term educational plans. Section 58, Report to the Batasang Pambansa. The Minister must submit an annual report to the Batasang Pambansa detailing the implementation of the National Basic Education Plan and current status of education programs. Chapter 2, Board of Higher Education, Section 59, Declaration of Policy. The section emphasizes the goal of higher education to improve quality, develop skilled manpower, and enhance research and extension services. Section 60, Organization of the Board of Higher Education. The board is reconstituted as an advisory body to provide guidance on higher education matters. Section 61, Functions of the Board of Higher Education. The board is responsible for making policy recommendations on the planning and management of higher education system. Chapter 3, the Bureaus. Section 62, Bureau of Elementary Education. This bureau conducts studies and develops programs and standards for elementary education. Section 63, Bureau of Secondary Education. Similar to the Elementary Bureau, this one focuses on secondary education, developing programs and standards. Section 54, Bureau of Technical and Vocational Education. This bureau collaborates with other agencies to formulate manpower plans. Section 65, Bureau of Higher Education. It develops and evaluates programs and standards for higher education. Section 66, Bureau of Continuing Education. This bureau implements non-formal education programs to meet the learning needs of those outside and formal education system. Chapter 4, the Regional Offices. Section 67, Functions of Regional Offices. Each regional office is responsible for creating a regional education plan that aligns with the national plan and considers the region's specific needs and traditions. So, number 5, the miscellaneous provisions. Chapter 1, Penal Administrative Sanctions. Section 68, Penalty Clause. Violations of certain provisions can result in fines or imprisonment as determined by the court. Section 69, Administrative Sanction. The minister has the authority to impose administrative sanction of causes such as mismanagement of school operations. Chapter 2, Administrative Provisions. Section 70, Rule-making Authority. The minister is responsible for creating rules and regulations to enhance the act. Section 71, Separability Provision. If any part of the act is found invalid or unconstitutional, the remaining sections remain effect. Section 72, Repealing Clause. Any laws inconsistent with this act are repealed or modified. Section 73, Effectivity. The act becomes effective upon approval. So that's all. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I am Clarence Esteban, and today we are going to talk about the Anti-Bullying Act of 2013. The title itself emphasizes its primary purpose, which is to prevent and address bullying in all forms of school or in school. So in the section 2, it is the declaration of policy, which the law mandates all the schools to uphold every student's right to secure a bully-free environment. Schools must actively create systems and policies to prevent and address bullying. For instance, a school may adopt a zero tolerance policy for bullying and may conduct campaigns to raise the awareness for the bullying or about it harmful to the students. In the section 3, definition of bullying may refers to severe or repeated acts where verbal, written, electronic, or physical that can cause harm or create fear or disrupt students' education. The forms of bullying maybe includes physical bullying. It is like hitting, pushing, or other forms of physical aggressions. The second one is verbal bullying, which is like calling name or name calling, insulting, or mocking someone. The third one is relational bullying, which it is excluded someone from a group or spreading false rumors. The fourth one is the cyberbullying, which is like using digital platforms or intimidate, humiliate, or harass someone. And the section 4, it is the coverage of the law, which this law applies the bullying incidents that may occur on school grounds, maybe on school-related activities like sports events or maybe field trips, and also in school transportations and outside of the school premises if the acts negatively impact the school environment or threaten the students. For instance, a student is bullied on the school bus or maybe on the transportations by older students, or maybe cyberbullying through online message outside the school hours that affects the victim mental health and attendance in class. Under Section 5, it is the responsibilities of the schools. Schools are required to create and implement anti-bullying policies. The second one is to establish clear procedures for reporting, investigating, and addressing bullying cases. And the third one is like educate students, teachers, and others stops about bullying preventations. And the fourth one is maintain confidentiality to protect the identities of those students who got bullied. The Section 6 is anti-bullying policies, which the policies must address the prohibited acts. It is a clearly outlined what constitutes the bullying. The second one is supporting mechanism, which it allows students to report incidents without fear and retaliations. The third one is disciplinary measures, implements appropriate punishments for bullies. The fourth one is the interventions programs. It provides counseling for both the bully and the victim. For instance, a school may establish a peer support group where victims can share their experiences and receive guidance from trained counselors. Meanwhile, bullies undergo behavioral interventions programs. Under Section 7, it is the mechanisms for reporting and addressing bullying. School must provide a safe space for students, parents, and teachers to report bullying incidents without fear. Investigations must be through a fair and timely. Under Section 8, it is the sanctions, which students proven guilty of bullying are subjected to disciplinary actions based on school rules. And in Section 9, it is the parental involvement, which the parents or the guardians must participate in addressing bullying cases and ensuring the affected students' rehabilitations and behavior improvement. And in Section 10, it is the effectivity clause. The law came into effect 15 days after its publication. It is the official gazette or in at least 2 newspapers of general circulations. So let's move on to the Republic Act number 7877, or also known as Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995. This law was enacted to address and penalize acts of sexual harassment in the workplace, educational institutions, and training environments. It promotes the protections of individuals from abuse of authority and ensures a safe and respectful environment. Under Section 1, it is the title, which this act is officially titled the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995. Under Section 2, it is the declaration of policy. The law recognizes the dignity of every individual and assures full respect for human rights by promoting a workplace or school or maybe training environment free from sexual harassment. For instance, it is like a teacher making unwelcome advances towards a student undermines the student's dignity. The law ensures such actions are addressed to protect and to give the respectful and equal rights for every individual, especially for students. And Section 3, it is the definition of sexual harassment. When we talk about sexual harassment, it is defined as an act committed in a work environment, education, or maybe in training by someone in authority or influence who demands sexual favors, in exchange to benefits like employment, grades, or maybe promotions. The forms of sexual harassment may be in a verbal, which it is inappropriate comments, jokes, or propositions. The second is physical, which it is an unwanted touching or gestures. The third one is written, which sending explicit message, emails, or maybe text to the students, co-workers, and trainees. The section 4, it is the coverage of the law, which it implies to the workplaces, which includes the employers, supervisors, colleagues, or maybe the managers in engaging in harassment. Maybe also it includes in educational or training, which it includes the teachers, trainers, or anyone in authority harassing the trainers, the trainees, the children, or maybe the students, or maybe the co-workers. The section 5, it is the duties of the employer or head of the office. Employers and heads of the institutions need to create a policies and guidelines to prevent harassment. Also, it set up reporting mechanisms and also like conducting disciplinary procedures to address the complaints of these the students, like co-workers and other like trainees or staffs of the school and work environment and others. The section 6, it is the liability of the employer or the head of the office. It is like the employers or heads of the institutions who fail to take action on reported cases or prevent sexual harassment can be held liable to this case or to this law. And the section 7, it is the penalties. Violators of the act may face imprisonment for 1 to 6 months and may pay from like 10,000 to 20,000 or maybe both depending on the court's decisions. And in section 8, it is the independent action for damages. Victims may file a separate civil case to claim damages for emotional distress, loss of reputations, or other harm caused by the harassment. For instance, a victim of a workplace harassment sues the perpetrator for damages, citing the emotional trauma that caused by the repeated inappropriate actions or harassments. And the section 9 is the separability clause. If any provisions of this act is declared unconstitutional, the remaining provisions remain unenforceable. The section 10, it is the effectivity clause. The law took effect 15 days after these publications in the official gazette or 2 newspapers of general circulation.